Many business owners think that the reason they're not able to sell more is simply because they're not great at sales. But after a decade of doing sales, one profound thing that I discovered is that usually the problem starts before the sales conversation happens. And that the problem is who it is that you're speaking to and not just what was said in the sales conversation. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about lead quality and specifically the 3 signs that help us to spot very early on prospects that are ready to buy from those that are not, so that we can protect our energy and we can protect our time for the prospects that are ready to buy. And so if you're ready, let's dive right in. Now, remember we've been talking about the 4 pillars of growth, and we talked about offer quality being the first pillar. And there we said your offer needs to speak directly to a specific problem that someone or prospect has and also promise a very clear result. Then we talked about lead generation being the second pillar of growth. And there it's just about installing a system that is able to constantly bring in new people or new signals of interest and in volumes, so that through your conversion rate, you're able to close a number of them. Now, at this third pillar, which is lead quality, is where a lot of business owners end up losing time and wasting energy. Now, the reason I say that is what usually happens is that you have a new prospect who sends you a message or probably calls you or books a meeting. And as soon as that happens, the business owner begins to get excited. And so they prepare, they show up, and they give everything, but only to find out that the person goes cold on them, goes quiet, and the deal never closes. They go ahead to follow up and follow up and follow up. They might even be ready to adjust prices downwards, but the deal never closes. And so we want to look into this and find out why this happens. And my assertion is that the problem is who exactly that you're speaking to, which means the prospects not being ready to buy, and not really that you aren't a great salesperson. And so we need to work with certain signs or signals that give us or tell us exactly when someone is ready to purchase, so that if they are not, we can quickly move on and save our energy for prospects who are ready to buy. So let's look at the 3 signs. So the first sign is that the prospect needs to have a specific problem. A prospect needs to have a specific problem. And so not a general or a vague problem, but they have a real pain and a specific kind of problem that they want to solve. Now, why is this important? Imagine if you had a toothache and it's so painful. Now, you're not going to be browsing the internet and just exploring options or making inquiries. Because the pain is so much, you need a solution now. And so what you'll be doing is to head quickly to the dentist, and at the dentist, you explain exactly what is wrong with you and where it is that you're feeling the pain. So because you know exactly what the problem is, you're able to articulate it in a specific way. And so when we're interacting with prospects or new interests, we need to be looking out for this sign. How does a person talk about the situation that they are in? Are they able to describe their pain in a specific way? Or they just say that I need help with my business, or I want to grow my business, or I want to get healthier, right? These are more general problems or pain that everybody might have. But if they are able to describe specifically what they are facing, what they've done about it, and what solution they would even wish that they had, then that is a sign that tells you that the prospect is far more ready to buy. So that's the first sign, specific problem. Now, let's look at a second sign that helps us spot a prospect who is ready to buy and differentiate them from someone who's not. So the second sign is urgency. Urgency. Okay, so what does this mean? Now, the prospect might have a specific problem, a real problem, but if the problem is not very urgent, if they're not looking to solve that problem now, and they're fine with solving it someday, next quarter, or even a year from now, then that is not a person who is ready to buy. And so they must need the solution now, or they must need that the problem is fixed now, right? So let's take an example. Let's say your roof, right, has a leakage, and you know about this problem. You've been meaning to get it fixed, but you've not really come around to do it. And then let's say one night you have a serious rainfall, right? And the water comes gushing in and floods your house. And so you spend the whole night trying to deal with the water. I'm sure right in the morning, you'll be trying to get the roofing leakage solved or fixed. Now, you notice that the problem itself did not change. The leakage is the same. But then what has changed is the urgency around solving that problem. And something caused it to become more urgent. So in business, these are usually the kind of people you want to be speaking to. People who want to solve the problem now, not later. So urgency is so important. And that's the second sign we need to be looking for when we are interacting with prospects. So based on what they say, and you can even ask direct questions to understand, is this a problem that they are looking to solve now, or they're just exploring or just comparing prices or making inquiries. Now, the third sign we need to look out for is means to pay. Means to pay. So what does this mean? Now, we looked at the first two signs. First one is a person having a specific problem, a real painful problem they want to solve. The second one is that the urgency around solving the problem is super high, so that they want to solve the problem today, now, and not later on, next quarter or a year from now. Now, the third sign, which is means to pay, is to say that if both of these signals are present, but the person genuinely cannot afford the solution that you have to offer, then they will not buy. And so they're not ready to buy. Right? So we need to be looking out for this signal. It's one of the most important signals to look out for. Let's think of an example. If, let's say, you're heading somewhere urgently and your car breaks down in the middle of the road, right? Now, you have a real problem. It's a specific one. And the urgency around it is also super high because you need to get somewhere and your car just broke down. But if you do not have the means to pay for a mechanic to get it fixed for you, and that situation is not going to change. It's not going to go anywhere, right? And so we always have to be looking out for this sign. Does the person have the means, or are they willing to invest in the solution that you have to offer? Now, looking out for this does not mean you're being dismissive or cold about it, but it's really about being honest, right? And saving everyone's time, because business is about solving problems whilst making money out of it. And so the person needs to have the means to pay for the solution that you have to offer to face their problem. And so all of these three signs need to be present for us to say that the lead is a quality one. And when all three are present, the conversation becomes easy. You don't need to be the best salesperson in the world. The conversation sells itself because the prospect really needs what you have. They have a real specific problem. The urgency is super high around it. And also they have the means to pay. Now, to wrap up, we need all three of these signs present for any prospects that we are speaking to in order to easily close the deal. And so if the prospect has a specific and a real problem and it's quite urgent, that means we are hovering within this area. So they have a real problem, a super urgent, they want to solve it now, right? But if they don't have the means to pay, then we have just two ingredients and it's not going to close as soon as you'd want it to, right? Then also we can have a prospect who does have the specific problem and has the means to pay for it also, which means we are hovering in this area. So the money is available to solve the problem that they have, but it's not that urgent. So they want to solve it, but they want to look at it in a year from now. That means the deal is not going to close anytime soon, right? We can also have a prospect who has the urgency to solve something. They have the means also to pay. But the problem is not very real. The problem is not specific. It's a vague wish that they have. So it's not painful enough. That also means that the deal is not going to close as soon as we would want it to. So we are looking for this sweet spot here, right in the middle, where all of these three signs come together. So this is the part that we are looking for to say that the prospect has a real, a painful and a specific problem. It's super urgent. They want to solve it today. And they have the means to pay for the solution. So when that happens, again, the conversation becomes easy. So lead quality is so important because it's almost like the bridge that gets us to close deals really quickly. If the leads that come into your business are quality and they are ready to buy now, then you don't have to be the best salesperson. You'll still be able to close a lot of them. All right, if you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.